Hello, Fellowship of the Open Spokes. So this week our topic is, what does it mean to be an open educator? And as I thought about that, I thought today I'm going to make a video which I have not prepared well for because I want to be able to make mistakes openly. So I've only got a couple of rough notes from having watched your videos before. When I first thought of open, I thought of the big picture window in my classroom. It takes about most of a wall and it doesn't face outside, it actually faces inside to the school. And it's open to a pod where there are 5 other classrooms facing that way. So anybody walking through the hallways can look in, see what we're doing. Any guests, students sometimes stand there and stare in as they're going somewhere else. And when I first moved into that classroom, my job share partner and I looked at that window and we were scared. We thought, well, not scared's not quite the right word. We were nervous. We thought, could we put some pretty curtains up there? Something to close that off? And because we didn't want to be watched, although I'm sure people aren't watching us. They're just curious as to see what we're doing. But as time has gone on, I don't notice that window anymore. It's there, yes, sometimes people are looking in, but it doesn't bother me. And openness online is sort of like that. You may start off by feeling nervous about feeling exposed, but at the end, once you've been doing that for a while, it's okay. I also thought about starting off as a new teacher and having adults in my room, having an SEA or having somebody else in the room and teaching and being very self-conscious. And now that doesn't bother me anymore, and I think that just comes with experience. But like Karen said, we fear judgment. We always ask, is what we're doing good enough? Even the most confident of us sometimes can have that feeling of, is it good enough? But we have to ask, good enough for who? Are we talking about ourselves or somebody else? Kind of like the kids. Who are we comparing the kids against? Are there standards, or is it against their own growth? And what is right? And I remember Ben saying, what does performance look like? What do expectations look like? And that made me think about accountability and how teachers are told to feel accountable or told to be accountable. And that reminded me of at MOOC learning that there is no Finnish word for accountable. Instead, it's responsible. With accountability comes the idea of blame, who is not doing their job, and responsibility, there's a sense of respect and personal responsibility where you feel like doing better and growth. So I don't know if we can have a standard set of expectations for everyone, just like we can't have them for our students because everybody's in a different place. Could we encourage teachers to be more open online? I think maybe an idea would be if we counted it as professional development and it was teacher driven. And I would love to stay at home one day and just be allowed to blog and read other people's blogs for Pro-D instead of going to a set workshop that I had to go to, which perhaps does not interest me or I'm not going to use in my classroom. Here's a couple of other notes. Oh yes, Ben's idea of safety versus panic. That was really valuable to me because I think a lot of people do panic at the idea of feeling exposed. I think it's really important to be able to learn out loud, to make mistakes, and we need to accept our mistakes, and we need other people to accept them as well as a starting point to learn something new. We need to, like online, a lot of people are sharing their successes, what's going really well, but are people sharing their mistakes? We should be sharing our mistakes because that's what makes us human and where we can learn from. And if we can share them and not feel judged, then more people will be sharing online. And I never thought of what Ben said about openness for a purpose and not because it's new, because right now this is new for me. I went from, 10 months ago, not being on Twitter, not being online, having no presence, to here I am vlogging. And yes, it's scary, but a community such as this, our fellowship, makes it a lot easier to be able to learn online and to make mistakes online. I think just like the kids, they learn by modeled behavior and modeling, we need teachers to be modeling online so that other teachers can learn from them. And we should be able to do that openly, where we can make our mistakes and where not just our successes are celebrated, but our mistakes are celebrated because we learned something from them and we grew. This also reminded me of the idea of being connected, that together we're stronger. That I was thinking that, there's revolutions happening in the world because people are connecting. Governments are changing. Well, why can't we change education just by connecting and being open online? And how Erin said about that rhizomatic nodes of learning, how we're all connected. It's so organic. And I know Ben said, well, is this making a difference from 6 years ago? Well, I think it might not look like it to you right now, Ben, but it's kind of like those tree roots underneath a cement sidewalk that eventually it does crack. It takes a while. You don't see it happening, but one day you notice it's cracked, and I think it will happen. Anyway, I'm going to end off here and just say the idea of openness, it needs to change from being exposed, feeling exposed, to feeling free. And then we can be, the way Sherry said, we can truly collaborate and be engaged and all those wonderful things she said. So this is my totally unedited version of thinking out loud, making my mistakes, and being open. And forgive me if I made mistakes, and thank you for helping me learn open spokes. I look forward to everybody else's ideas.